Your body isn't getting weaker just because you're getting older. It's weakening because of things you do every single day, even if you don't realize it. It's not about not eating enough or not exercising. It's about seemingly harmless habits. Sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, doesn't happen overnight. It creeps in slowly like a rusting wheel, quietly wearing away at each muscle fiber, every reflex, and each steady step. By the time you notice, your hands aren't as strong, your legs aren't as steady, and just getting up from a chair has become a real challenge. The good news is, you can stop it, starting today. You don't need a gym. You don't need expensive medicine. You just need to understand the 9 common habits that are silently draining your strength and start getting rid of them, one by one. Every bit of muscle you've lost can absolutely be regained. We'll start with what seems like the smallest thing, but it's often what kicks off the whole decline. Ready? There's one habit many people over 60 have, not because they're trying to do anything wrong, but because they just don't notice it anymore. It doesn't cause pain. There are no obvious symptoms. It won't send you to the doctor's office immediately. But over time, it silently erodes your body's strength. That habit is not drinking enough water. The problem isn't just forgetting to drink water. It's that you don't feel thirsty anymore. In older adults, the brain's thirst regulation center works less efficiently. Your body can be dehydrated, but the signal to drink up isn't as clear as it used to be. That's why many people believe, I'm not thirsty, so I must be well hydrated. But the truth can be the opposite. Your muscles, which are about 75% water, are incredibly sensitive to this deficiency. When your body's water content drops, even by just 2 to 3%, your blood gets thicker and blood flow slows down. When circulation decreases, fewer nutrients and less oxygen reach your muscle tissue. Muscle cells start to function sluggishly. Intracellular enzymes get out of whack. More importantly, your body begins to shift into a catabolic state, breaking down muscle tissue to maintain essential life functions. In other words, dehydration doesn't just make you tired, it makes your body consume its own muscles. A 2023 study published in Nutrients, conducted on a group of people aged 70 and older, clearly demonstrated this. Those in a mild state of dehydration, even without specific medical signs, had significantly higher levels of 3-methylhistidine in their blood. This is a characteristic indicator of muscle protein breakdown. Simply put, dehydrated individuals were losing muscle faster, even if they were eating enough. The irony is that most older adults don't realize this. When they feel weaker, they think, it must be old age. When they find it hard to climb stairs, they blame their joints. No one thinks about something as simple as water. No one imagines that missing a few glasses of water every day can lead to a real weakening of their legs, their grip, and their ability to move independently. As you get older, kidney function declines. The ability to retain water decreases, and the rate of blood filtration slows down. Your body needs to be regularly supplied with enough water even more. But instead, many older adults only drink when they eat, when they take medication, or when they genuinely feel a dry mouth. And when they do drink, they often choose things like strong tea, coffee, or sugar-free sodas, thinking they're healthy. But these can act as diuretics and worsen dehydration. Here's a simple way to check. If your urine is dark yellow, if you pee less than 4 to 5 times a day, or if you feel a dry mouth but don't feel like drinking, then there's a high chance your body is dehydrated. And the good news is, you can totally improve this. No drastic changes needed, just a shift in your drinking habits. Start your day with a glass of warm water before eating. Drink a glass of water before each main meal. And instead of waiting until you feel thirsty, let a reminder prompt you. Every 2 to 3 hours, drink a small glass. Don't force it, don't chug it all at once. Just drink steadily, like watering a plant. Your body doesn't need a lot. It just needs to be adequately watered every day. Because if your muscles are the foundation for your independence, then water is what keeps that foundation from crumbling. Habit 2. Sleeping less than 6 hours or having restless sleep. Here's something not everyone realizes. Muscles aren't built when you're exercising, they're built when you're sleeping. Sleep is the only time of day your body can truly shift into recovery mode. So, if you don't get enough sleep, or if your sleep isn't deep, then even if you eat right, exercise regularly, and drink enough water, your body still can't repair and rebuild the muscle tissue that gets tired every day. The problem here isn't just lack of sleep. It's about sleep quality, and it's so common in older adults that it's almost considered normal. Many people over 60 accept sleeping only 4 to 5 hours, waking up several times a night, and always starting the morning feeling exhausted. They call it old age. But biologically, this has a more specific name, a disruption in the muscle recovery cycle. When you get enough sleep, at least 6 to 7 hours, and especially deep sleep during the first few hours of the night, your body starts releasing crucial hormones, GH, growth hormone, and IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1. These are two core components that help your body recover, repair, and rebuild protein in muscle tissue. But when you don't get enough sleep, or if your sleep is restless, these hormones are suppressed. The consequence is your muscles aren't repaired after fatigue. They're neglected. Even worse, your body starts to increase the secretion of inflammatory substances like CRP and IL-6, factors proven to contribute to muscle breakdown and weakened motor function in older adults. A large systematic review published in JAMDA in 2023, which tracked over 19,000 individuals aged 60 and older, revealed an alarming truth. Sleeping less than 6 hours per night increases the risk of sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss, by 20 to 40%. And remarkably, this risk level doesn't depend on whether the person exercises or eats properly. In other words, without quality sleep, all other efforts are limited. So why does sleep become so hard to maintain in older age? Part of it is due to hormonal and biological changes of aging, which shorten sleep cycles and make waking up easier. But a significant part is also due to our daily habits. Many people go to bed too late, get too much blue light exposure at night, drink coffee or strong tea late in the afternoon, or simply don't prepare for sleep as a ritual to be respected. No one can sleep well if they lie down right after a big meal. No one can sleep deeply if they were watching stressful news 15 minutes before bed. And especially, no one can recover muscle in a sleep that's interrupted 3 to 4 times every night. Sleep needs to be prepared for like an important appointment, a quiet bed, soft lighting, a mind that's been put to rest, and a body not stimulated by caffeine or pent-up emotions. If you get enough sleep, at least 7 hours, with at least 2 to 3 hours of deep sleep at the beginning of the night, your body can still recover, maintain muscle mass, and have stable reflexes even if you don't move a lot. But if you only sleep 4 hours, or worse, in short, fragmented, choppy sleep, then no matter how much protein or how many vitamins you consume, your muscles can't regenerate. You might notice this not from lab test results, but from the feeling you get every morning when you step out of bed. If your legs don't feel as steady as they used to, if standing up requires holding on to something, if you always feel a bit shaky with your first steps, try starting tonight with your sleep. Sleep isn't just about resting. It's the time your body rebuilds itself, one cell at a time. And you deserve a sleep that's long enough and deep enough to wake up not as someone more tired than yesterday, but as a stronger version of yourself. When it comes to muscle strength, most people only think about protein. But the truth is, if your body doesn't have enough accompanying minerals and vitamins, then no matter how much protein you eat, most of it won't be converted into muscle. It's wasted. Worse, it can make you feel more tired, heavier, but not stronger at all. Habit 3. Lack of vitamins and minerals. Your body doesn't just need raw materials. It needs biological tools to use those materials correctly. And those tools are magnesium, vitamin D, B12, and zinc. You might be eating plenty and still be deficient in them, and you won't know it until you see vague signs. Muscle soreness after walking, a slight hand tremor when holding a glass of water, slower reflexes when turning, losing focus even with enough sleep. These small things are your body's way of telling you, I'm missing something very important. Magnesium, for example, plays a role in over 300 biological reactions, including muscle contraction and relaxation. It also regulates the flow of calcium and potassium in and out of muscle cells, two factors that control heart muscle rhythm and lower limb flexibility. If you're low on magnesium, you'll feel like your body has lost its rhythm. Each step becomes sluggish, uncertain. A study found that supplementing 300 milligrams of magnesium daily for women aged 65 and older for 12 weeks significantly improved leg strength and walking speed compared to the placebo group. This means that a simple mineral, when sufficient, can make a big difference in daily life. What about vitamin D? This vitamin controls the absorption of calcium and phosphorus, two minerals that build muscle and bone structure. A deficiency in vitamin D doesn't just make you prone to osteoporosis, it also reduces your ability to synthesize muscle protein. Muscles become flabby, recover slowly after fatigue, and weaken over time. Not to mention, most older adults don't get enough sun exposure, so a deficiency in this sunshine vitamin is very common. Vitamin B12 directly affects the peripheral nervous system. When deficient, signals from the brain to the muscles aren't clear, leading to slow reflexes and poor motor coordination. You'll find it harder to maintain balance. You're more prone to tripping and falling, even if your bones aren't weak yet. More concerning, the initial symptoms of B12 deficiency are very similar to normal aging, so they're easily overlooked. And zinc, though needed in very small amounts, plays a vital role in repairing muscle tissue after exercise. It also supports immunity and fights inflammation, two factors that help prevent muscle breakdown after the microscopic damage common in people who exercise or are regularly active. The problem is, most of these micronutrients aren't checked regularly. And if your diet is monotonous, eating the same few familiar foods week after week without varying your food sources, then the risk of deficiency is even higher. So I want to ask you a very simple question. In the past week, have you eaten dark leafy greens, eggs, milk, fatty fish, or unsalted, unroasted nuts at least 3 to 4 times? If not, then it's very likely you're deficient in at least one of the 4 important micronutrients above. Starting tomorrow, try a small change. Add green vegetables to your lunch. Include 1 egg or 1 glass of unsweetened milk in your breakfast. Sprinkle some unsalted roasted pumpkin seeds into your salad or afternoon porridge. You don't need to buy more medicine. You don't need to change your entire diet. Just give your body the small things it needs, consistently, every day. Your body doesn't need to be rebuilt all at once. It just needs to stop being starved. And sometimes that starts with a spoonful of greens, an egg, or a few pumpkin seeds each day. Habit 4. Eating too much added sugar and refined carbs. Your body needs sugar, but not the kind you're eating every day. Your muscles need energy, but they don't need sudden sugar spikes, followed by rapid crashes like a roller coaster. And the problem is, we're consuming too much added sugar and refined carbohydrates without even realizing it. It's not just when you eat candy or drink soda that it counts as eating sugar. It's also when you eat a slice of white bread, a bowl of plain white rice porridge, or what seems like a very healthy pasta meal. What you're consuming is fast-absorbing carbohydrates that convert into glucose almost immediately, and while this might be easily managed in younger people, in older adults, it triggers a cascade of biological reactions that silently damage muscle. The body over 60 is no longer as sensitive to insulin as it once was. Insulin is the hormone that helps move sugar and amino acids into muscle cells, where they're used to create energy and rebuild muscle tissue. When you eat a large amount of added sugar, from desserts, bottled juices, industrial sandwich bread, your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas has to work extra hard to release insulin. But because your body isn't as sensitive as before, the response is delayed and disordered. This means sugar doesn't get into the muscles, amino acids aren't absorbed, and your muscles lack raw materials even if you eat a lot. Even worse, excess sugar in your bloodstream will bind with proteins in your muscle tissue, creating harmful glycation products called AGEs. Advanced glycation end products. These substances damage muscle fiber structure, cause prolonged low-grade inflammation, and are one of the factors contributing to systemic muscle weakness. Now try to look back at your recent breakfast: a slice of white bread with jam, a bowl of vitamin-rich instant cereal, a glass of orange juice from a carton. Sounds convenient, sounds healthy. But if these are your regular meals, day after day, then there's a very high chance you're putting your body into a state of chronic metabolic imbalance. So, where do you start changing? You don't need to cut out all sugar or carbs. Just choose real and or slower versions. White bread becomes whole grain. White rice switches to brown rice, oats, quinoa. Juice is replaced with whole fruits, prioritizing low-sugar berries like blueberries and strawberries. Gradually reduce sugar, replacing it with natural sweetness from whole fruits. Sugar itself isn't the enemy, but how we use it is the problem. If you want to keep your legs steady, your hands strong, and your independence, the first step is to stop poisoning your body with things that are too sweet, too white, and too fast-absorbing. Because sometimes, a bowl of oatmeal can do more for your body than a heart-healthy glass of orange juice. Habit 5. Consuming ultra-processed foods and nitrite-rich meats. Convenience foods are no stranger to older adults. They're right there in the freezer: frozen pizza, sausages, deli meats. They're in the snack aisle, on the bread shelf, or in those instant noodle cups for when there's no time. And for those age 60 and above, when cooking isn't a priority, many have chosen convenience instead of choosing what truly nourishes the body. The problem is, ultra-processed foods UPFs don't just lack nutrition, they also contain ingredients that can cause insidious inflammation, damage muscle tissue, and reduce motor reflexes over time. Let's look inside a package of deli meat. What will you see? Meat, but it's meat that's been pressed, protein separated, mixed with artificial colors and flavors, nitrites, preservatives that help maintain the pink color and extend shelf life, additives like phosphates, maltodextrin, modified cornstarch, and trans fats found in many fried snacks, industrial baked goods, or margarine. All of these things, when they enter the body, won't just disrupt metabolism. They also create harmful compounds like AGEs and HCAs, heterocyclic amines, which have been shown to be linked to chronic inflammation, muscle tissue destruction, and even an increased risk of certain cancers. A 2024 analysis using NHANES 2011 to 2018 data revealed a worrying trend. Individuals who consumed more than 50% of their total daily calories from ultra-processed foods tended to experience faster reductions in lean mass, particularly noticeable in the age group of 60 and above. This means the more convenience foods you eat, the faster you lose muscle. What's even scarier is the feeling that you're still eating enough. These foods are often high in calories, making you feel full, but they don't provide sufficient nutrients for muscle repair and maintenance. Your body is eating, but it lacks raw materials. And because it lacks raw materials, it has to take from its reserves. The easiest reserve to tap into is your muscles. Have you ever chosen a frozen meal because I'm just cooking for myself anyway? Or do you think eating convenience food once in a while can't hurt? Try to be honest with yourself. How many just 3 minutes in the microwave items do you have at home? And how many of those do you eat each week? Changing this doesn't require extremes. No one is asking you to give it all up, but you can start by gradually reducing packaged foods, replacing them with simple homemade options: boiled eggs, pan-seared chicken, steamed fish. Choosing products with short ingredient lists that don't contain nitrites or hydrogenated oil. Making your own sandwiches with whole grain bread, additive-free canned fish, fresh vegetables, and avocado. It's quick and still real. A very common mistake among older adults, and it's worth noting, often stems from a desire to save money, reluctance to eat a lot, or simply feeling it's not necessary. This is the habit of eating too little protein, or cramming all your protein into dinner. Many people over 60 start eating a light breakfast or skip it entirely. Lunch is often very light, sometimes just a few slices of fruit, a bowl of soup, or a piece of bread. Then, at dinner, they finally eat their main meal, usually with some meat or fish. In their minds, they still believe, I've had 3 meals. I had meat for dinner, so that's enough protein. But for an aging body, just having some protein isn't enough. What's more important is getting the right amount of protein at each meal, at the right time, and with the right frequency. After age 60, the body's ability to synthesize muscle protein significantly decreases. To trigger the muscle rebuilding process, anabolic response, each meal needs to provide at least 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein, which is roughly 0.4 grams per kilogram of body weight. If you eat less than this, your body won't get enough stimulation to turn on muscle building. And if this happens during the first 2 meals of the day, you've missed almost 2/3 of your opportunity to rebuild muscle, even if you have a very substantial dinner. A 2023 review, which synthesized multiple studies on individuals 65 and older, reached a notable conclusion. Those who distributed protein evenly across 3 meals, about 25 to 30 grams per meal, had a 25% higher protein synthesis rate, better muscle strength, fewer falls, and maintained their independent mobility longer compared to those who concentrated their protein intake at dinner. So why do many people make this mistake? Partly because tastes change. They might not be hungry in the morning, they're busy at lunchtime, or they simply think a light breakfast is easier to digest. Another reason is that many people maintain the same protein eating habits they had when they were younger, that is, eating most of it at the main meal. But at age 30, the body can absorb and metabolize protein efficiently even if meals are staggered. At age 60 and above, the body needs to be fed nutrients rhythmically, regularly, and at the right times. Take a look at your daily eating habits. Are you making this mistake? If so, you're leaving your muscles undernourished for nearly 2/3 of the day. The solution isn't complicated at all. Breakfast. Add 1 to 2 eggs, a cup of unsweetened milk, or a serving of cooked beans, lentils. Lunch. Grilled fish, pan-seared chicken, boiled eggs, with vegetables. Midday snack. Greek yogurt, pumpkin seeds, unsalted almonds. Dinner. Eat enough, but don't force yourself to overeat just to meet a quota. The key is to distribute protein evenly, don't cram it all in, and make sure each meal contributes to muscle building. Habit 7. Daily use of pain relievers, NSAIDs, acetaminophen. At a certain age, many people start living with pain. Aching knees when climbing stairs, back pain from standing too long, shoulder pain from sleeping on one side, headaches when the weather changes. And instead of seeking recovery, they gradually accept it, then rely on pain relievers as an indispensable part of daily life. An ibuprofen in the morning, a Tylenol before bed, non-prescription. Not an overdose, but repeated every day. It sounds logical, but few realize that this seemingly stable habit is silently disrupting the body's natural recovery mechanisms, especially for muscles. Your body has a very clever self-repair mechanism. When you exercise, even if it's just a light walk, climbing a few stairs, or gardening, muscle fibers experience micro-damage. This is completely normal because afterward, the body responds with a mild physiological inflammation called a recovery inflammatory response. This is when anabolic hormones are released, stem cells become active, and muscle protein synthesis begins. Muscles weaken during exercise, but are rebuilt stronger during recovery. The problem is, pain relievers block this mechanism. NSAIDs like ibuprofen and naproxen, as well as acetaminophen, inhibit CoX cyclooxygenase enzymes, thereby reducing inflammation and pain. This is good if you have acute inflammation, an injury, or severe pain. But if you take these medications daily, especially after exercise, your body can no longer activate the healthy inflammatory wave needed to rebuild muscle. A notable study conducted a 12-week trial on a group of individuals aged 60 to 75. All 3 groups participated in regular resistance training. Group 1 took 1,200 milligrams of ibuprofen per day. Group 2 took 4,000 milligrams of acetaminophen per day. Group 3 took a placebo. The results: the 2 groups taking pain medication had nearly 50% lower rates of post-exercise muscle protein synthesis compared to the group that didn't take medication. They also gained less muscle mass and showed slower improvements in strength. In other words, taking medicine regularly, but at the same time, locking the door to recovery. You might be in this situation without realizing it. You exercise regularly but don't feel stronger. You walk every day but your legs still feel weak. You take medication to manage the pain but don't feel better week after week. If the answer is yes, then it's time to reevaluate your pain medication habits. This doesn't mean you have to live in pain, but you have the right to choose how you manage pain without damaging your body's ability to recover. Some alternatives include applying local hot or cold compresses, herbal oils like peppermint, ginger, or over-the-counter CBD oil, gentle stretching before bed, supplementing with omega-3s, turmeric, or natural anti-inflammatory foods, if not contraindicated. And most importantly, talk to your doctor if you are taking pain relievers every day for weeks or months, because that's never a safe long-term option for your health, especially for your muscles, liver, and kidneys. Habit 8. Sitting motionless for too long. Every day, sitting, in its essence, isn't bad. It allows the body to rest and helps your legs recover after long periods of activity. But when sitting becomes the default state for your entire day, that's when problems begin. No noise, no pain, but quietly, silently, and destructively from within. The human body was not designed to sit for 6, 7, or 8 hours a day without moving. Muscles, especially in the legs and hips, need continuous movement to maintain mass, blood circulation, and reflexive function. When you sit for long periods, muscles are no longer stretched or contracted regularly, leading to a state of chemical inactivity, where even the enzymes necessary for energy metabolism stop working. You can imagine your body like a car. The longer it sits in the garage without starting, the more the oil and grease build up, the weaker the battery gets, and the flatter the tires become. Passive sitting is just like that. At first, it's fine, but after a few months, you'll find yourself standing up slower, your reflexes duller, and it's harder to maintain balance. That's not because of old age, but because your muscles have been turned off for too long. A large-scale meta-analysis in 2023 compiled data from 124 studies with over 230,000 people worldwide. The results showed that people who sat for many consecutive hours each day, regardless of whether they exercised or not, had an increased risk of muscle mass loss, reduced lower limb strength, and an increased risk of falls. This effect was particularly rapid and noticeable in people aged 60 and older. What's more concerning is, exercising every morning isn't enough to compensate for 6 to 8 hours of sitting still all day. It's like brushing your teeth in the morning isn't enough if you eat sweets all day without cleaning them again. The good news is, the solution isn't to force yourself to walk 5,000 steps every day or exercise for 60 minutes each morning. Just break up your sitting time and insert short bursts of movement. Every 30 to 45 minutes of sitting, stand up for 2 to 3 minutes. While watching TV, set a reminder to stand up, stretch, do heel raises or ankle rotations. When on the phone, stand up and walk around the room. While waiting for tea to boil, do 10 calf raises. No equipment needed, no trainer needed. You just need to reactivate your muscles like you'd start an engine after a long period of inactivity to prevent rust. You can sit to rest, but your body wasn't designed for prolonged inactivity. And sometimes what keeps you standing firm in old age isn't strenuous exercise, but simply not allowing yourself to sit still for too long. Habit 9. Regular alcohol consumption. A glass of wine in the evening, a can of beer with dinner, a bit of whiskey before bed to help fall asleep. For many older adults, these are no longer choices, they've become habits. And like many other habits, they start gently, seemingly harmless, but accumulate long enough to cause serious impact. Alcohol, whether red wine, light beer, or hard liquor, contains ethanol. When it enters the body, ethanol is converted by the liver into acetaldehyde, a cell-toxic substance. This substance damages muscle cell membranes, causes electrolyte imbalances, and most importantly, destroys type 2 muscle fibers, the type of muscle primarily responsible for strength and reflexes. You might be eating enough protein and exercising regularly, but if you have alcohol in your blood every day, even just 1 to 2 drinks, the process of building and maintaining muscle will be continuously hindered. Beyond muscles, alcohol also affects nutrient absorption. It disrupts the intestinal lining, hindering the absorption of vitamin B12, folate, magnesium, and zinc, substances vital for muscle recovery. That's why many regular drinkers not only have weaker muscles but also experience anemia, fatigue, and balance disorders, even if their meals seem nutritious enough. You might be thinking, I only drink 1 glass of wine every night. What's the harm? I'm healthy, I can still get around. My doctor said red wine is good for the heart. That's not wrong, as long as you drink in moderation occasionally and not every day. The problem here isn't a glass. It's the repetition. A glass every night. Every day, every week, without a break. Your body doesn't have time to recover, no space to regenerate, and over time, it weakens without sounding the alarm. According to USDA guidelines, 2020 to 2025, older adults should limit alcohol to less than or equal to 1 standard drink per day, equivalent to 5 ounces, 150 milliliters, of wine per 12 ounces, 355 milliliters, of beer per 1.5 ounces, 44 milliliters, of distilled spirits. Have at least 2 to 3 alcohol-free days each week to allow the liver and muscle tissue to rest. For individuals with liver problems, high blood pressure, diabetes, or those taking regular medication, it's best to talk to a doctor about stopping completely. If you've stayed with me this far, please take a few seconds to truly reflect. Is your body weakening because of age, or because of things you've been doing repeatedly every day without noticing? No accidents needed. No serious illness needed. Muscle loss doesn't happen overnight. It comes like the hands of a clock, minute by minute, hour by hour, through seemingly harmless habits. We've walked through those 9 habits together, not to blame, but to understand and restart. Insufficient hydration depletes the body from within, allowing catabolic enzymes to work more strongly than building ones. Sleeping less than 6 hours or having restless sleep shuts off the muscle recovery switch and activates substances that destroy muscle tissue. Lack of micronutrients like magnesium, vitamin D, B12, zinc prevents muscles from having enough tools to rebuild every day. Eating too much added sugar and refined carbohydrates causes insulin resistance, leads to mild inflammation, and prevents nutrients from entering muscles. Consuming ultra-processed foods and nitrite-containing meats introduces AGEs and HCAs into the body, destroying muscle from the root. Eating insufficient protein or cramming it all into dinner starves muscles for most of the day, causing building to be interrupted. Daily use of pain relievers silently blocks the physiological inflammatory response needed for muscle recovery. Sitting motionless for too long causes muscles to fall asleep, lose reflexes, and reduces the speed of nerve signal transmission to muscles. Regular alcohol consumption leads to muscle fiber atrophy, nutrient absorption disorders, and disrupts the foundation of recovery. Do you see yourself in one or more than one of these habits? Your body doesn't decline overnight. It goes down step by step, habit by habit. Each day you don't pay attention. So the path back up can also start little by little. You don't need to start over from scratch. You don't need to be perfect. Just every day, choose one thing to change. Maybe it's a warm glass of water instead of strong coffee, a breakfast with added eggs and milk, standing up once while watching the news, a day without needing a pain reliever, or one evening you decide not to pour another drink, just to give your body a chance to rest. If there's one thing in this video that made you pause and think, try writing it down. Just one thing. Because what you write down is what you can start to change. And if you know someone else who is also getting weaker, slowing down, easily tired, send them this video. Not to convince, but to give them a chance to realize it's not too late to do things differently. And if you want to continue this journey with me, hit subscribe. No bell needed, just so the next videos can find you at the right time.